Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's chapter 20 of Pinpoint. This one's titled Captured. Kaori barked excitedly as he got closer to the dilapidated building. Whoa, hold on, Shoto called out a few meters from behind him. Not so loud, we need to be quiet now. Sorry, woof, Kaori replied, tail between his legs. It's okay, you've done well, Shoto said, jogging up beside him. He stretched his hand out hesitantly and patted Kaori softly on the head. Kaori sprung to life and jumped up, licking Shoto on the face. Momo laughed as she caught up. You two seem to be hitting it off well. Momo, will you and Kaori mark the outside of this building while I enter it? Shoto said, looking back at Momo. Yes, sure, Shoto. Be safe, please, Momo replied. Call us if you need us. She knew this was Shoto's mission, and that he was more than capable. She wasn't expecting him to call for her assistance, but thought it would be polite to offer anyway. Shoto kicked the front door in. He was well and truly riled now. He no longer had a Hessnite stone, so finding you was his only mission now. He was blinkered, narrow-visioned. He was going to get you. He walked straight through the entrance and listened. It was silent. Show yourself, he hollered into the darkness, his voice echoing through the empty building. He walked into one of the side rooms and saw a mattress in the corner, and raised his hand to the wall and felt along it for the light, finding it and flicking it on. The dim bulb flooded the room with a soft light, and Shoto's eyes widened as he took it in. Precious gems, stones, jewels, and failed gold littered the floor. He stared, his eyes settling on a glowing orange stone amongst the organic debris. He walked over and crouched down, picking up the little gem, his eyes tearing up. A Hessnite. It's her. She was here. Shoto yelled for Kaori and Momo. Momo was inside the building in a flash, the despair in Shoto's voice causing a pain to rip through her heart. Momo, he cried softly as she entered. She raced over and embraced him, holding him close as he threatened to have a breakdown. Look, he said shakily, trying desperately to maintain his composure. He held his hand out, the beautiful little gem sparkling in the dim light. A Hessnite, Momo gasped. It's her! Woof! Kaori said, sniffing through the gems that were scattered on the floor. She was here just a few minutes ago. Woof! Damn it! Shoto growled, gripping the Hessnite tightly. Kaori, can you follow the scent from here? He asked, turning to Kaori, shooting him a desperate look. Of course! Woof! Kaori barked and ran out of the building. Shoto grabbed Momo's hand and they raced out together, almost bumping into someone. Stop right there, the inspector yelled, raising his gun at the two heroes. This is not the time, Inspector, Shoto growled, pulling Momo in behind him protectively. There are now two people who are possibly in harm's way. We need to save them. You are pointing your gun at the wrong people, Shoto snarled. If you continue this harassment, I'll permanently put you away. His eyes were narrowed and serious, and the inspector took a step back at the sheer anger or angry aura that radiated from him. Shoto, He lowered his gun. There is no time for apologies or explanations here, Inspector. We don't have the time, Shoto said in his stoic, monotone voice, before walking briskly past the inspector and breaking into a run, following the rapidly disappearing form of Kaori. We have a lead, Shoto called to the inspector over his shoulder. Follow us. The inspector obeyed and turned to his men who had just arrived on the scene. Get the cars, follow the heroes, they're onto the tails of the kidnappers. The police jumped in their cars and followed after Shoto and Momo, the lead car stopping briefly and picking them up before speeding off again. Kaori was in hot pursuit of the getaway vehicle, galloping on all fours at a tremendous pace, his strides getting freer as he relaxed into the motion. He's fast, Shoto said to Momo, looking over at the car's speedometer. 50 kilometers per hour. You awoke to your head throbbing terribly. You cradled it in your hands and whimpered as you tried to still the nauseating feeling that came with the throbbing. Suddenly you were aware that you were in a vehicle. You looked up and around you. You were in the back of a van. Your grandma was lying limply on the floor next to you. Grandma, you gasped, reaching out and shaking her shoulder gently. She didn't move. She had blood trickling from the side of her head. You felt something run down the side of your face and touched your fingers to it. Blood. You rolled your grandma on her back and tried to feel for a pulse, but the van was bumping and shaking so much you couldn't feel a thing. You lay over the top of her, holding her in your arms while tears spilled from your eyes. Grandma, you sobbed. Please don't leave me. Outside the van, you heard a dog barking ferociously and people swearing angrily. The van swerved and you were thrown clean across to the opposite wall. Stop! Police! you heard clearly from the back door of the van. Your heart leapt in your throat. Police? You crawled back over to your grandma and she stirred slightly. Grandma, you said. Grandma, the police are behind us. We're going to be okay. She didn't respond. You wrapped her in your arms and held on for dear life as the van continued to bounce down the road. Suddenly you were slammed into the front wall of the van, your head hitting it solidly, and you lost consciousness instantly. From outside the van, a dog could be heard attacking your captors. And there ends chapter 20. Stay tuned for chapter 21.